Queen of Beauty, chapter 12. So somehow we've ended a mini series, 12, a dozen episodes. Not really connected, not really mesmerizing, but what can we do? We just do this for no good reason. To mark the territory a little, revolution, well, contested, many say was a coup d'etat actually, something that seems to be preparing in the United States of Erica. Erica, because I read in Lake Obregon Days that it makes more sense. It makes sense. Termină mai disparat. It makes more sense to call it that. Because Eric of Norway had more to do with the continent than America Vespucci. So the very stable genius is not going away. It does all there is possible to change things. Set the, as the joke, The Economist is in bookshops, in newsstands, and online. The one for this week launched yesterday, last evening. And the cartoon there is with America. They ask for help in Hong Kong. That's an example. But the truck that is supposed to go and help with democracy, with fires around the world, is itself on fire. With an idiot with matches, the very stable genius, playing with fire. He's considering a strike on Iran. Journalists have discovered. So, returning, revolution, uprising, coup d'etat, whatever. A change, and then working with some journalists from Time, from Radio Sweden, Helsingin Sanoma, an interesting guy. Drank a lot. At noon he was already passed out or something like that. Miners coming here. My friend could have been killed. We found a bullet in the engine of the car, a Dacia, exchanged for an Audi. With that, a tremendous change. Joie de vivre, dolce far niente, clubs, music, and a lot of women. A lot of women because we were free, because we talked a lot, because we had the time, because we kept trying. And I guess we applied without knowing it the rule which Tal Ben-Shahar, professor at Harvard, instead of watching this, you should look for positive psychology lectures, freely available on YouTube. Most popular ever, Harvard, The Secrets of Happiness, really. So one thing striking, which he says, and was asked, what do you wish for your students? I wish they fail more. What do you mean? How is that possible? Well, he has quite a few bon mots, mantras, leitmotifs he uses. And one is learn to fail or fail to learn. You don't learn if you don't try. He also gives the example of that man, gives a name, I don't have it. Successful individual, Harvard maybe, if not then Yale or one of the top universities. Tremendous activity, learning, education, splendid. No hiccups. But that was just the problem. Once in the White House, because he was so young, at the age of 30, he was one of the brightest, brilliant minds. There is a crisis. There is a problem. And not knowing how to lose, how to cope with this, with a situation in which he couldn't prevail because, I don't know what happened. He commits suicide. Learn to fail. So we failed repeatedly. We learned, and then once in 50 attempts, we managed to not seduce, but I don't know, to be accepted by some women, and there were some traumatic situations. They're in the other. This is just the highlights, okay, if there are any. And then I mentioned it was the dog. She saw the dog and talked to Daryl Van Horn, Barry for short, my German Shepherd, waiting for me outside the office of the lawyer. He would wait for me everywhere. Later on, I would have a membership, a sort of a membership, an arrangement, really. In fact, I was bribing, I was paying off not on the, not without a receipt, so, but going regularly to the, what is today world class, and it was Bucharest hotel, the swimming pool of the Bucharest. And because the dog wouldn't stay at home, he didn't like that. He would rather go everywhere. We'd go around town, and at one point we were right there, and he will wait outside. But the manager of the pool saw that, and one day, when I was coming out after 1 hour, maybe 2 maximum, I would say, I would look, and if there was somebody interesting, somebody to invite and have a coffee with, if accepted, obviously, I would just leave. I mean, do some sauna, a little swimming. Anyway, and I find the dog inside, sitting on a couch at the entrance, the reception, not of the hotel, reception of the pool. They had separate, like now. Entrances. What are you doing? I was thinking, animal went crazy, got inside and just, instead of lying somewhere, it just took a. No. The woman at reception. What was his name? I used to know his name. Maybe it will come back. Vali. Vali allowed him. Vali brought him in. And I said, well, thank you when I saw him, but I don't know if it will maybe be a nuisance. No, let him. So whenever, anyway, that's the dog. So she saw the dog, talked to him, and then I used that, going after her, the ticketing. She says, I miss Romania. I say, oh yeah, I'm the Maharaja of Punjab. So such a lucky thing we met. So it was heaven. L'amore che muove la luna e altri steli led me not to the marriage of true minds amid impediments. I don't know if there were true minds. In the end, they weren't. But lucky for those 10 months, whatever it was. And I said there was an accident. She was splendid during that day, and well, maybe the next, in trying to help, offering her support. Literally came to the main station with me, pressed my case, whatever. And then I said she was supposed to go a week before, around Christmas, something. Everything else is the main is gone or blurred. Maybe it will come back. That's perhaps one one reason to do this, maybe some revelation somehow I'll discover. Oh, there was that apparition, that alien came from the sky, and then they used, like, my mother is an alien with Kim Basinger and who is it? Chevy Chase or Dan Aykroyd, I think. And so she marries this Dan Aykroyd character, a scientist, and the girl sees the daughter of the scientist, that she's an alien, and she's very peculiar, very strange. She talks to this thing in a small mini ET in her bag. Anyway, and bizarre. So maybe they had this, and I discovered, I forgot. Queen of Beauty was actually an alien. They sent her here and studied one exemplary of an ordinary human, and then wiped out a lot of what was going on, and it's gone. Maybe I rediscover it. So we drove. Trains were packed. The first plan was to take her to the railway station, see her on the train, like I had done not long before when she went to Moldavia. I was getting used to trains and long drives with her. It would happen again with Moldavia, maybe even twice. I'm sure I went twice, but I don't know, maybe once it was with a train, I don't know. Anyway, once was driving, surely, in winter. So not soon, not long after this, must be. And it was a fantastic, wonderful joy being with her and doing this and being together, and clearly, if not in love, let's once in a while let's put things into perspective and not exaggerate as if this is possible. I am exaggerating quite often, so I will admit to that. And like the centurion or whatever, Roman legionnaire, the guy assigned to be near Caesar and keep saying into his ear or into his face, near his divine body, anyway, not near enough to hear. Remember thou art mortal. Remember thou art. Once in a while, I have to take this to the ground and say, maybe the truth of the story is I went crazy for her. Crazy is the word. There's also the chemistry, as they keep joking in comedies and saying in books. It's hormones, it's a chemical reaction, and then you go nuts. You see this woman and you think love. Whatever it was on my side, maybe she was just keen on being with someone for a stage until she can make the qualitative jump and say, okay, loser, get lost. Now, that's a cynical, probably exaggerated interpretation in the other direction. And again, if she was not in love, Thomas Mann has that short story I keep referring to as well, in which the character says love, friendship, these are words we don't find in real life, we find in books, in art. Whatever the state was, infatuation, some attraction, some... It's also a thing, and then you finish because I say I went too long. I wasn't Prince Charming. I was younger and better looking to some extent, and and enthusiastic. But my gift, my glow, if there was any, in the way, came from this very thing. I was thinking sometimes. I mean, the fact that I was so enchanted, so energized by her, so it worked like a levitation, like a elevation, like you too.
Oh,
So I was better because of this feeling.